Hey there! We've had a couple of epic weeks here at the farm and we've got a lot of more cool stuff going on so we can push through and get stuff planted for this season. And you saw in the last video we got the tarps laid out. So those guys are doing their job. Probably be on there for as long as we can, but we're hoping to build beds there starting in early to mid-April. And out in this area here we're going to be planting cover crops. So we put down the sulfur to help deal with the pH situation, but now we're going to be planting that cover crop. We're going to be planting pea and oats. And so before we get to that today, we got to make sure we just rake this a little bit more smooth. It's still a little bit rough after the big day of leveling things out, so we're going to get to that. And then I'll show you some of the crops coming up in the greenhouse. So you probably could get away with just broadcasting the seed, but we just have so many birds in the area that I feel like it would just get eaten just pretty much immediately. So we're gonna try to drill it in. I know it's a lot of work, but you know, it'll get the seeds in the ground and then we'll put some water on it. So try to get the stuff growing as quickly as possible. So the earthway didn't work. I didn't have the right plate really for it. There was either the holes were too big and too many seeds were going through, or they're too small and the seeds wouldn't go through. It also, the ground got pretty hard. Of course, after you till, it sort of compacts and gets crusty as it's pretty dry out here today. So I couldn't get the seeder in the ground. So I tried the Jang, I didn't quite have the right roller. So I'm just using this guy, nice and simple. And then we're gonna rake it in. So I put down the peas already. I'm gonna do the oats now. I got the oats sprayed out here. Gene's just going over with the rake, as you guys just saw. Try to get it as incorporated as we can, and we're gonna put some water on it. So I don't intend on irrigating this field very often, but we just want to get some water down, try to get these seeds to germinate as quickly as possible. My biggest concern is birds eating the seeds here. We're supposed to have some precipitation this week, so hopefully that will help. And once we get that going, we won't be irrigating out here, but we just want to run this a little bit, try to get the ground wet, try to get the seeds started. Look at this germination. Everything's been really happy. Irrigation's been working great. I'm just gonna run the tilther and the rake, and we can use the Jang to plant some seeds. Got the carrots and the arugula seeded. I'm gonna get some water on them. So it's a couple days later, and I'm out here irrigating this field right now. I just have one of those tripod setups with the Impax head on it, and I'm just moving it around. We don't need to have permanent irrigation out here because I don't plan on irrigating this until we have beds set up. But it is important, I just want to point out that you are irrigating your cover crops. You need to get them to start well, you need to get them to germinate, and you want to have them as a thick stand. So you want to make sure that you're treating them like any other crop. You want to give them a good chance. And so we're really trying to get this field covered as quickly as possible with our cover crops. And I think we'll do all right. Been getting a good amount of heat in the last few days and sunshine, so just keep it wet and we should be good. And so you probably noticed that this video is taken over the course of a few days. I don't know, this might be a style that I might be doing in the future, just like, you know, throughout the course of the week if there's not as many big things going on. But just want to update you and show you what's going on here today. I also want to update you a little bit about the water tank situation. I mentioned this probably in a previous video. This is an asset that we have on the farm here. There's a rainwater capture system that was installed here many years ago, and it's been out of order for, I don't know, at least a few years. I'm not really sure, but we are planning on getting up and running. And I met with the gentleman who works for the company that installed it, and he sent me a bunch of pictures from the install, and he talked me through the whole system, and it's super cool. And I'm gonna get more into it in the future, but basically each of these tanks holds 5,000 gallons of water, and we're gonna utilize the system, but we gotta order a pump, and so it's gonna be another project for this month, and I'll document all that and show you guys. But I'm very excited we're gonna get to use this to not only use rainwater instead of city water, so it'll save on big savings for cost, but just, you know, a more sustainable resource as well. We're just gonna be capturing water off of one of the buildings next door. So it's a couple days later, and it seems like this video is turning to the whole week, which is kind of cool. Having a volunteer work day today. Not a huge turnout, but we definitely got a few people, and they're basically working on weeding the perimeter and trying to get that in shape, because mainly the field is just hanging out. Still, as you can see behind me, doing some watering for those cover crops. Let's go check and see if we can find some germination. So you might be able to see some of the green popping up behind me, and you know, it's interesting that even after you till, it's just the weeds come back so quickly. And again, one time we're going to till, but important that the cover crops get established as quickly as possible. So let me show you what we got here. This is 5 days in. So this is the pea right here. You can see the shoots are coming out, and then the oat here. So both of which is germinating, which is great. We're just gonna try to keep it wet. It has rained a couple of days in here, but otherwise we're gonna have to keep it irrigated until it really does come up and get established. So let's go see what some of the volunteers are up to. So this is the rain garden over here, and volunteers are doing some weeding first, and also doing some amending with some extra soil that we have from some planters that we're not using anymore, and then putting down some wood chips. So not a ton of growing out here right now, but there will be, and just getting things sort of cleaned up for the spring, and you know, making things look tidy. But everyone's really enjoying the time outside in the sun today, having a good time. One thing that's super cool is all the planting that we have around the perimeter, and we're going to plant there's a lot of stuff here, but we're going to be adding stuff over the course of the year. But the big push today is trying to get this weeded and maybe slightly amended, but definitely mulched. You can see how much material is still coming out of here. But it'll be nice to have this living border around the outside of the field block and just the farm in general. As usual, we got a solid crew out here and just a beautiful day. I think people are just happy to be outside and working. So weeding the perimeter here and just chatting with these guys over here. One of which is an industrial engineering student at NC State, and got 2 high school kids over here. Didn't know each other before today, but everyone's working together and having a good time. Just want to show you guys sort of the state that the perimeter is in right now. We definitely have some cool stuff in here, but weed pressure. But cleaning up the farm. Let me show you some of the area that's been done already. So this area's been weeded and mulched. Man, what a difference. Well, I know it's been a tough week for a lot of us out there with everything going on, and it feels really good to be outside working and growing vegetables, and I really just encourage you guys to do that as much as possible. And if you are planting out food for yourselves and, you know, for in your backyard or whatever, plant a little bit extra, guys, because you know what, you can always share with your neighbors and friends, and I think it's important that we try to think abundance right now and just try to help each other. And plants are going to keep growing, as I've said, and we got to keep on doing what we're doing and growing food for our communities. And you can see behind me, got food growing here. I'm really excited. Gonna keep pushing on here. We got a bunch of big projects coming up on the farm before we can start really pushing out into the field, and we'll be sharing all those with you guys. And as I always say, please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It really does make a big difference right now, especially. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.